Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today for the Digital Marketing Bootcamp. Introducing today's webinar is myself, Michelle Lutman, and I'm the content and media producer here at Surefire Local. I also have our webinar ninja, Steve Eastlack, with me today, who is ready to help answer your questions. We're excited to welcome Bob Sheehan, who is the Senior Vice President of Client Services at Surefire Local, to lead the bootcamp series, Never Miss a Lead, 10 Ways to Convert More Website Visitors. A brief backstory: our founder and CEO, Chris Morentis, started Surefire Local with the goal of helping local businesses win in the digital space and compete equally. Our mantra is, your web presence is more than just a website. In order to be in all the places customers go to find their business online, you must orchestrate your web presence in Symphony, including your website, social media, local directories, reviews, and more. Today, successful remodelers, roofing contractors, and other home improvement pros across North America use Surefire Local marketing technologies and services to get high-quality leads and solve their hyper-local marketing challenges. During the webinar, the marketing team will be taking your comments in the webinar chat widget. You guys can communicate with us using the question box in your webinar control panel on the right side of your screen. See if you can locate that right now and let us know where you're joining us from today. We'll also be sending messages and discussion questions to the group throughout the webinar, so make sure you check that out for useful resources, links, and questions. Today, one lucky attendee is taking home a Google Chromecast. If you don't win the Google Chromecast, you don't have to go home empty-handed, because everyone here today is eligible to win one. We're offering a Google Chromecast to any attendee who schedules a complimentary phone consultation for remodeling your website with Surefire, but I will get more to that at the end of the webinar. But for now, I'm going to pass on to Bob. Bob, take it away.
All right, thank you very much, Michelle, and welcome everybody to the webinar. For those of you who have not met me before, I handle the client side of this. So if you're a client of Surefire and you've got a coach or an account manager, that's my group. We run that whole end of things where, we're implementing our program with the clients and helping people to grow their business using digital marketing. I joined the business really at the very beginning back in 2009. And it's very, very different today than it was back then. But one of the things that still remains is this whole idea of why it works, why the program that we've put together works, and how it all fits together. And if you look at the chart that's on the screen right now, this really hasn't changed. There's always been this idea of certain interactions that are at the end of the funnel, meaning they're the last interaction before somebody puts in a lead or a form submission or a phone call. And then there are other interactions that people have with your online digital presence that are assist interactions, right? Things that may not directly generate a lead, but they help along the way. And there's this whole idea of a journey where customers move through the funnel and they see different things that you have out there, and they interact with your website maybe a couple of times before they finally decide to make a lead submission or a phone call. And so what we try to do, and we've been really, goes right back to the very beginning of this business, we try to make sure that we're touching all of these things in a coordinated way so that we can get the maximum amount of, number one, visibility, but number two, lead flow from your websites and make it the most effective that it could be. So we like to talk about a digital footprint. We look at this like there's a lot of different things. It's not just your website, right? Most people think that when you're dealing with online, you've got to have a great website and then everybody will come. And unfortunately, that may have been true a few years ago. It's no longer true. You've got a lot of different things that impact what happens to you online and whether customers come to you, whether they will become a lead or an appointment with you. So we think about all of them, right? It's important to think about beyond the website. It's important to think about reputation, for instance. That if customers see you out across the internet and it's not good, for instance, maybe you've got some one-star reviews out there, or things are not good in terms of the customers, that's definitely an issue and something needs to be cleaned up. So we try to put things in place to handle that stuff. Directory listings are very important. Social media is a component of this, probably more so on the kitchen and bath kind of side than it is maybe on the exterior remodeling side. But social media is an important component of how people find us, and people use them a lot. We generally work on the organic side first, and very often there's an AdWords kind of paid component on top of that. So we're kind of using all the different tools to bring as many people to the table as possible, and the whole idea would be to take this digital footprint and coordinate it and make it work the best for you. And the idea behind today's webinar is to talk about how to convert customers. So in much the same way as we have a digital footprint that contains many different elements, we have many different ways to convert people, tools and tactics of how people, things that people would see, for instance, on your website that will talk to them differently or interact with them differently, that will help us to make conversions. So we've listed 10 of them here. There are probably more. We think these are the most important 10, and we try to include some thinking about these into every project that we handle. So we've got live chat, we've got tracking numbers, telephone tracking numbers, so we know how people call and we can listen to them. Project albums, right? We do a lot with photography, videos, product videos, right? We've got call to action buttons, the whole idea behind telling people what you'd like them to do when they're on your website and how to measure that stuff. We work with forms and we also do surveys, right? You ask people what they want and then kind of give it to them. Special offers. Mobile friendly is a very important one, and for those of you who haven't ever heard the term mobile first, it's about everything that Google thinks about right now. They think the next generation of the website, the whole kind of web interaction is mobile, and everything that they want right now is to see how mobile is going. And then we certainly, for those of you who've been doing this for a while, you've heard the term blogs, right? The idea behind publishing an ongoing amount of content that will get attention from A, the search engines, but B, the people that are out there surfing around looking for information. So we were going to go through and kind of talk about these a little bit individually. If anybody has any questions or wants to make a comment or anything, don't hesitate. We can stop at any time and engage a question if we want to. So live chat is one that we see a lot on websites. We have a lot of customers that ask us, should I add chat to my website? And so the way we think about this is it's about instant service, right? You've got a group of customers out there who, will wait for a response and who are, kind of in the normal flow of things, and they'll put in a form submission and they'll maybe make a phone call. But the purpose behind chat is to handle those people that really want something right away. They don't want to wait on hold. They don't want to wait for you to get back on a form fill. So they would like to be handled right away. And chat will allow that to happen, where in real time, the customer can tell you what they want. You can answer them, and you have an opportunity in that engagement to turn that into an appointment. So, and it does put a face onto your brand. It gets you to a place where people are really talking directly to you on your website, and we find that it's effective and customers like it. When we've done some surveying around this, and there's been a lot of thinking certainly done on this in the industry, and the numbers around this are pretty compelling. 79% of customers prefer live chat because they want it right now. People don't want to wait. They're interested in getting their answer. So 79% say they prefer it. And many of them feel like they get good service from it, that it satisfies them. 73% satisfied from live chat, whereas email is only 61% satisfaction and phone is at 44%. So, chat is something that clearly people want, And so having it on your site is I think a good thing, and will help you convert more customers that way. Best practices, right? One of the things that people, probably the biggest mistake that people make is that they don't really prepare for chat. They just kind of put it up there and hope for the best. And when the inquiries come in, they handle them as they come. So we try to talk about getting ready for all of this, right? Using canned messages, right? Having a script, just like you want to do on the telephone. When you have somebody answering your telephone in your business, you want them to have certain things that they say, certain ways that they answer questions. We want to do the same thing with chat. Be prepared for anything that might happen, so that the person that's doing that can be professional and confident in how they handle that. There's opportunities within chat to do surveys, both before and after the interaction. That's an opportunity to find out from your customers how they like what happened here, right? And that will help you to format what happens after that, right? If you want to make a change to the script, or if you feel, if you get some feedback from customers that indicates they're not getting what they want, they'll tell you that in the survey, and then you can make the changes that you want. And then at the end, you want to make sure you're giving a transcript of the conversation to that customer, so that they feel like they got served, and they've got a record of whatever was said, so that they can refer to that as their answer in the future. And then the thing that we try to work with people on is the strategic placement of chat buttons, right? We don't want them to be all over the place. We want them to kind of be a little bit out of the way, but still be organized and able to be easily accessed. So that's kind of how we think about live chat. Tracking numbers, again, for anybody who's been doing this for a while, tracking numbers are a big deal. We've been using them for literally decades. Gives us additional analytics into who's calling the business, allows us to listen to phone calls. I always talk about this with my customers as a training tool. So, not only do I want to know what the customers are saying, I want to know what our people are saying. Make sure that the answers that they're giving are factually correct, and that they make the right conversation happen in order to get the customer to become an appointment. So that whole idea behind, let's listen to what we're doing, let's know what it is and make changes to it to help make that interaction better, I think is a very big value in tracking numbers that far exceeds whatever they cost. And then obviously the big piece that most people think, the way most people think about tracking numbers, is to find out which campaigns are working and which aren't, right? So if you've got unique phone numbers on 5 different things, and you get more phone calls on 2 of them than the other 3, then you can do the math against how much was spent on those things and come up with an answer about where you want to spend the money after this. So tracking numbers are invaluable in that way. The numbers that we have here working with 400 or 500 customers tells us that about twice as many phone calls happen as form submissions on websites. So if you're not tracking the phone calls, you're missing a very big piece of the analytical ability behind your marketing programs that will really help you spend your money better. So tracking numbers is an important component behind what we do. Next is project albums. We try to put a lot of, especially in the well-born cabinet world, where you're dealing with kitchens and cabinetry and beautiful things. We want to make sure that we've got the right kind of visuals on the websites, because people really look for that. In this business, it's everything. You really want to have a nice visual up front, and then inside the website, we try to create project albums that will show customers either lots of great pictures about a job that we might have done, and hopefully many jobs that we've done. Sometimes we use project albums as project progress kinds of things. So you can see, here's the kind of the takedown. Here's when we strip away the old stuff, and here's what it looks like when it's totally empty, and here's what it looks like when we're building it back up again, and then here's the final picture. So that kind of project progress piece gets a lot of attention. we see that when we look at the analytics around these projects that people do spend a lot of time looking at this material. So, in terms of the value to a website, we get people to stay on the website longer, we get them to interact with it longer, and ultimately we feel like it drives leads up as well and helps to convert them better. Photo tips, right? Oh, excuse me, I went one too much. So we use before and afters, just some kind of thinking around, how to make these pictures work for you better. We've got a lot of before and afters, and a lot of clients that will do, okay, here's what it looked like before and then after. And usually those are just strikingly different, and that contrast really is useful. You've now got, if you own an iPhone, and I'm sure you can do it on Android too, there's time-lapse photography out there, time-lapse video that will give you a really interesting approach to showing a project off. We always want to make sure the photos, whatever we're photographing, are good quality and well lit. Probably the biggest thing I see with customers is they don't think about the lighting, and you can never have too much lighting on a project. You've got to think about the lighting, and if it's well lit, it will always look good. And then this location piece that's here, number 4, is really important. If you use location services on your iPhone when you take that photo, that burns the location into the back of that photo when you put it on your website, and gives that signal to the search engine. So it helps to establish the marketplace where you do business. We also have a thing called GeoJuice, which is an app which helps us to do that as well on photos that we take at customers' houses. Certainly we want to talk about branding, right? Many of the clients that I have actually will put a logo in the lower right-hand corner of the website just so they can see that it's our work. And getting releases from customers. I get that question a lot. Should I get a release from my customer? And the answer is, if you can, yes. I think people want to have control over the photos of their homes that get put out over the internet. So to whatever extent you can get a customer to sign off on that, I think it's a good idea. Testimonial videos. We do a lot of testimonial videos on websites. We do them on our own website, on Surefire Local. They build credibility, they build visibility, they show expertise, they do lots of different, there's nothing like a customer who says, hey, I had a great experience with these guys and they really did good work for me and I recommend them strongly. That's real. When you see a video of that, you know it's real rather than something you read which anybody could have written. So we try to use that testimonial video either on the front end of the website, or sometimes we have pages inside where we use it. But it's really, really good. And the truth of the matter is too, if you do a lot of this, you'll find your customers actually like it too. The people in the videos, they enjoy being in them, and they're kind of flattered that you want to even ask them for one. So I think it has a lot of different possibilities. Along the same lines is product videos, right? We've got lots of different products, and customers are looking for that stuff. They search for brand names, they search for logos. They have an idea in their mind what they'd like to buy, and so when they search for that stuff, and we have it on the website, then we kind of pay off that idea that they know what's good, and here it is, right? And we find that 85% people are 85% more likely to buy a product after watching a video. And I think for the same reasons as testimonial videos are powerful, product videos are powerful too. They show that the product is good. They show that it's important, and you get an opportunity to really show what it's going to look like visually with that customer. Any questions? Anybody have anything they want to put into the chat window? We can stop now and talk about anything we'd want.
All right, thanks, Bob. That was a great first half. So we're going to quickly do a poll here. As mentioned earlier, we're offering a complimentary phone consultation for remodeling your website for all attendees today, and a free Google Chromecast for all who qualify. During a consult, we will sit down with you and review your website. The marketing consult is essentially a one-on-one session with the marketer that's focused on your needs and enables you to take full advantage of the insights that Bob is sharing today. It will help you put you on track to create a robust presence for your business and start generating a predictable flow of new customers. When you attend your consultation, someone from the Surefire team will help you identify missed opportunities across your online presence, from social media to directories to reviews and your website. So please take a moment to submit your answer. And I always say there's no bad questions, so please submit your questions because we want to answer them at the end at our Q&A. Maybe we can actually answer one of them now. So let's see. All right. So from Brian, any live chat apps you would recommend?
There's a bunch of them. We've got a live chat app actually on the website. And Michelle, do you know the name of that? Do you remember the name of that application?
It's called Olark.
Olark, correct.
Olark.
So there's a page on the website that details the relationship that we have with Olark, and that's one that we've looked at and that we like. I think if you survey our customers, you'd probably find 10 or 15 of them out there that are in use, and there's all kinds of different variations. But we can help you find one that's suitable when the time comes. There's lots of options.
Cool. All right. So we're going to close up the poll in a few seconds, and then we'll get back to the webinar, to the important fun stuff. And make sure you stay on if you want a chance to win that Google Chromecast at the end, too. All right, so we're going to close that up.
Yeah, close the poll.
And you're good to go.
All right. Thank you. So call to action, right? One of the things we talk about a lot when we're talking about conversion, anytime we're talking about getting more leads, it's about what kind of call to actions work. And so you can see there's a bunch of them on the right that we use. These are the more common ones. You can see at the top though, start your remodel. That's one that we've used recently, and we've actually done some testing around that and found that it works pretty well. It got us a lift against the traditional, put in your, get your free estimate here, right? To start your remodel is a little bit of a different approach to this of, let's get things moving, and you're not really buying anything. You're just kind of, starting down that path. So we find that's done pretty well for us. And the thing that I like to talk about here, I like to recommend to people, is that you try a lot of different ones. If you're out there and you've got a website that's generating some leads, and you got these form submissions with the headline across the top, try one against the other. Try one for a month, see what happens. Count your visits against your lead forms and measure your conversion rate, and then change it and see what happens, right? If you get something that moves a little bit forward, then there you go. If it doesn't, then try something else. But we like to try to run one against the other for different amounts of time and see if we can kind of beat the one that was there before. And if we constantly have that kind of an attitude, we're always going to be lifting the bar, if you will. We're always making it a little bit better. Web forms for the call to action. This is what I was talking about here, the free estimate and the phone number. That's where we want to try to use different calls to action, try different things. Surveys. We run a bunch of surveys, right? I've got customers that kind of do their own. We sometimes run them for them, where we send in questionnaires through email and trying to get them to tell us what they think, right? So maybe it's a group of customers who were, maybe they came to your website and did not fill out a form, right? Or you've sent out an email and then you got the yeses, right? The people who did respond. Well, then you follow that up with an email about how their experience was, and try to understand the different components of your business, the different touch points that you have with people, And the best way to do that is just to ask them what happened, how did it go, what did they think about it. And we find that people are very willing to tell you. They take the opportunity to kind of give you the information, and then you can take that information. What we like to do is work with people on taking that information and turning that into a way to do things better, right? And that's always a good thing. And ultimately, that that's about more leads, right? If we do things better and we make people happier and get better scores on these surveys, that adds up to satisfying people more, and we will get more leads from that. Special offers. There's lots of opportunities on a website and on any social media and anything else you do to make sure there's a special offer in there. I always talk about it like the radio station, right? WII-FM, as in what's in it for me. And I always want to make sure that I can answer that question in anything that I do. So if I've got a blog post and I've talked about something particular to a customer, I also want to close with, here's a special offer for you. Here's a reason for you to come to us. Even on thank you pages, even on pages where they've already put in the lead. Well, here's a little something else, right? Here's a download maybe for a ebook or some information that they may not have had, or some way to follow up, just to make it a little bit special, right? A little bit more and a little bit more. And when you work this kind of special offer approach into everything you do, it doesn't have to be money. You will find that the response rates on all of this stuff lift a little here and a little there, and pretty soon you're getting a lot more leads. So this approach we find is very important. And we use it across everything. So it's not just websites, it's social media, it's directories, right? We have the ability through SurePulse in our dashboard to actually manage a special offer across 74 directories with inputting one piece of information in there and pressing the send button. So we scale that activity and make it easy to kind of manage that stuff. You make special offers seasonal, you make them relevant. As I said, they don't always have to be discounts. They can be, information. They can be anything. But getting creative with this kind of stuff is very, very important. Mobile friendly. We've talked once about mobile. Google really, really cares about mobile. It's about all they're thinking about these days. They actually have a saying at Google called mobile first. So everything that they think about in terms of the future is mobile. Right? People check their phones 150 times a day. Google knows this. Google wants to make sure that the websites that they rank highly in their search engine respond well to customers who are looking for things on mobile phones or on iPads or any of that, because they realize that's where it's going. People are much, much less likely to do things on desktops today than they ever were, and it's only going to get more mobile, not less. So we think about mobile a lot. We only build mobile responsive websites now. We would not build anything that wasn't mobile responsive. And we're actually doing some things that are brand new too. This is a thing that's going on at Google. It's an initiative where there's a group of kind of a direction inside this business called Accelerated Mobile Pages. It's a project. And they're defining this idea of the AMP page over on the right here, which is a very slimmed down version of the same page on the left. So those are exactly the same page. The difference is the AMP version will download in a fraction of the time that the normal version will. And what that means is when somebody's on a mobile phone and they go to one of these pages, that the fact that page downloaded so much quicker and gives them that satisfaction on a mobile phone means that they're much more likely to stay there, right? What they find is that the people are willing to wait for a page to download more on a desktop than they are on a mobile phone. They just abandon on a mobile phone. So we've created these pages. The industry has created these pages, and we've begun to use them on websites. And we find that Google is treating them very well. They rank well. They have extremely fast download speeds. They lower the overall download speed of your website. And by doing that, we expect that over a period of time, that's going to lift the rankings of that site. So it's a long-term thing. We're testing it, but we are seeing that these pages are getting in the index. Google has stated publicly that if they have a choice between a mobile and a normal and an AMP page, they will always serve the AMP page first, and they serve it at a higher average ranking. So we think this is the future. Um, by the way, we don't see very many companies in this business and very many people, but very many clients using AMP pages. It's not very common. It's a brand new thing that we're testing, and so far we see very good metrics from it, very good results. And the blog, right? We've been talking about blogs for years. Blogs is really the staple of this. It's a way for us to create additional content on an ongoing basis on a website in a way that's easily indexable, and Google likes it, and customers like it. It's a way to get, you start with, your website might have 30 or 40 pages, and then you start the blog, and you're blogging, we blog for customers 2, 3, 4 times a month, and that content goes out across the internet and gets indexed and becomes a much bigger digital footprint for that customer, it's keyword oriented content. It just kind of expands the whole reach of their brand, right, across a lot of different topics and lots of different keywords. So we think blogs are really important. We find that when we look at the pages on a site and we compare the traffic to all of those pages, the blogs get a lot of attention. Customers find those things because they rank in search, and customers really value the information, I think, because most of the way we write this is very informational, very kind of here's what's going on, and they're not written like regular pages on the site. So we try to be educational. We definitely see they rank better, and because of that, because we can take a 30 or 40 page website and turn it into a 200 page website over time by adding these blogs, we definitely find it drives more leads as well. Post types, we do lots of different kinds of blogs. They're either how-tos, right, or sometimes we call them lists or listicles, where we're just kind of, here are the top 10 things, right, like the webinar that we're on, the top 10 ways to get more leads on your website, or checklists. Have you done this, right? Are you thinking about these 10 things? Reviews. We looked at this product and here's what we think of it. Or infographics. We do cartoons and drawings that kind of graphically show how things interact with other things. All of these different types of blogs become just a way to make the information more interesting and engage that customer more. And so we find that some people like certain kinds of content. Some people like text-heavy content that really gets into the nitty-gritty of some information, and then other people won't look at that stuff, but they look at infographics, which is a very text-light kind of graphical approach to transmitting that information. So we try to do all of this over the course of a long time, right? When we're publishing 2, 3, 4 blogs a month for people, and over 12 months, that's 48 blogs potentially, and you do a little of these and a little of those, and it appeals to different people and gives you a kind of a mix of engagement across everything that you're doing. So blogs are very important. We include them with every program that we create for clients, and we've been doing that for years. Blogs are authored, meaning somebody writes them, and we put them on a website with an author. There's a byline associated with that blog. And so very often we'll have a company, maybe it's a lot of our clients are small and medium-sized businesses. They might have 10 or 15 people in the company, and we'll pick a few individuals within that company to be authors, right? So there's an industry expert type. Maybe it's the owner, somebody that might speak across, at industry events. So that's one kind of level of this. Staff, right? Maybe you've got some installation content that you want to put out on a blog, and you have your installation manager your chief craftsman, whoever that might be, have that person handle it. And then very often we'll have guest bloggers come in and do things where somebody from a different industry or from a different company might come in and just kind of stand in and write a blog. All of that's good. Changing that up is important. It gets people more interested. It certainly changes things up on the website, makes it a much more interesting thing. So we've got a lead funnel. We talked about that a little bit earlier, and all of these things that we work with, right? Surveys, tracking numbers, call to actions, they all kind of help move people through that funnel, and ultimately at the end, we're trying to get people to put in more leads. So if we can impact every stage of that funnel a little bit, right? If we can move it 1%, 2% here, there, and the next thing, pretty soon you've got 20 or 30% more leads coming out the other end. So that's the idea behind all of this, is incremental improvement in lots of different places to provide a large change on the far end. And that's the idea behind the lead funnel. So Michelle, do you want to talk about SurePulse, or should I?
You can go ahead and talk about SurePulse.
Okay.
Do you want to? Yeah.
Sure. So for those of you who have not seen SurePulse, I don't know how many new customers here versus existing customers on this webinar, but we've got a dashboard control panel called SurePulse that really is the center of everything that we do. So we manage these campaigns on SurePulse. We run the directory listings here. It has analytics where it brings in a lot of different data and allows us to kind of understand what's going on so that we can then take action. We're able to do things in here with content. We can publish content directly through the dashboard. We can publish social media content, directories. We change the offers on directories. It's all encompassing. We run everything through here. And here's a few screenshots of it. We have it changes every couple of weeks. We've got a continuous development pipeline of different things that are being added to this. But the way to think about SurePulse is, all of these things that we're doing in the digital footprint, all of these different elements need to come together somewhere. And either that or you're looking at 30 different dashboards, and you don't want to do that. So we brought them all in one place, and we provide customers with the ability to not only understand what's going on and see it and feel it kind of thing, but actually make changes to it and manage it right from within one place. So that's the idea behind SurePulse.
Okay, great. Thanks, Bob.
Right.
Before we get on to the Q&A, we're going to announce our winner for the Chromecast. So today's lucky recipient of the Google Chromecast is Nancy Pratt. Congratulations, Nancy. You can email marketing@surefirelocal.com with your full mailing address, and we'll ship that right out to you.
Congratulations, Nancy.
All right, so now we're going to move on to the Q&A. We have a good chunk of questions for you, Bob. So the first one is live chat appropriate for a small business?
I think it is, sure. To the extent that you can actually, work it. Most small businesses that we work with have somebody answering the telephone, and I find that that's the person that's just going to run this, right? And so as long as you can have the live chat live during business hours and have somebody able to answer those questions, I think it's a very good thing to be doing for small businesses. I don't think you have to be big to do that.
Okay, great. Another question, can you overblog?
I don't know. We keep trying, but it doesn't seem to happen. I don't think so. I think there's, putting out a lot of content is a good thing. As long as it's quality content and relevant to what you're doing, then I think, doing a lot of content is a good thing. Google is a big content engine. They crave content. I have not seen where, more content has been a bad thing.
Okay, can you suggest a few topics that they should write about?
Sure. anybody in the business, right? We're in the cabinet business, right? There's a million things you can write about in the cabinet business. Here's how we do what we do. Here's why we do what we do. Here's how long we've been doing it, right? Here's the history of the company. Here are the vendors we work with. Here's our installation process. The topics are endless. If you just go through your day and you think about all the things that you do, and all of the kind of the brands that you interact with and the processes that you have in place, all of those things are blogs, right? If you just got to kind of open up your mind a little bit, and you'll find it's like, oh, there's so much to write about, you can't even believe it. And that's basically what we do, right? When we write blogs for people and we put editorial calendars together, we're doing that on, in place of them. We're kind of trying to climb inside of their world. And so we will very often ask people, what's your day look like? What kind of work do you do? What's important to you, right? What do customers ask you, right? When I have a lot of customers who will say, they write a blog about a customer question. Hey, I was out on a quote the other day, and the customer asked me this, and then here's the answer to it, right? Here's why he asked me, and then here's the answer. That kind of content is very engaging, and it helps people to, you kind of anticipate what their questions are going to be. It really gives them an idea of your expertise.
All right. Well, that was great. So our another question we have is, are accelerated mobile pages easy to set up?
They're easy to set up to an extent. There are some tweaks to them. There are plugins that are available in WordPress that help you to stand them up. There are some kind of little things inside there we got to be careful of, but yeah, it's not so difficult that an ordinary person can't do it. We created our own plugin for it that has the settings in the right way, so that we don't have inconsistency from one site to the next. We kind of set them up according to a pretty well defined set of guidelines. But yeah, I've seen that stuff, and it's not extremely difficult.
Okay, great answer. So those are all the questions that we had. But I want to say thank you for joining us today, Bob, and thank you to our attendees, and thank you for Wellborn for partnering with us to make this bootcamp series happen. I hope you guys all decide to join us for our remaining 2 bootcamp series that are happening in April and May. I think there's another screen that we can show just in case you didn't get the dates from the beginning. Yep, the next one is on April 6th, and that should be a really good one. For the details, you can go to surefirelocal.com. We have a link at the top of our homepage for the webinars. If you were napping during our poll, I'll mention one last time that we're offering a Google Chromecast for all who are qualified for a complimentary digital consultation with us. Please email marketing@surefirelocal.com if you are interested. And at the end, please take a minute to fill out the survey and let us know how we did today and what topics you would like to hear about in the future. Thanks again, and have a great afternoon.
Thanks very much, everybody.